Now. Hello everyone, I hope this is working. Let me know in the chat so we can definitely know for sure. You should have audio from our mics, but also from the background video. So if anything is missing, it would be helpful to know.
Let's not have a case of being muted for 20 minutes.
Yes, Dane had a case where he wasn't aware he was muted for 20 minutes in his stream because nobody told him.
That was completely normal to me.
Audio is on for Rami. Dino Mummy is here. Hello, Dino. And you might have missed 2 or 3 streams, but don't worry, they are available for you to go back and have a look at. So this is our first Tea with Triclaw live. We are not drinking tea because it is way too warm for that.
I have monopolised the fan.
Yes, Dane has stolen the fan. We all have cold drinks, but yeah, we're going to do our first live Tea with Triclaw. We were respecting the choice of his silence, says Rami. Don't do that.
I don't mean to.
So obviously you've got me, Fletcher, Dane is here as well, and on the other end of Discord is Sabre as well.
Hello there.
And today we're going to discuss...
Why are you saying Dane we're going to discuss? I know what we're going to discuss.
Today we are going to discuss...
You said Dane.
Open world games, and specifically what annoys us about open world games. The tropes and things they do that absolutely drive us up the wall. And me and Sabre are going to have to try very difficult to not talk about Fallout 4 or Fallout 76 too often.
Why you and Sabre specifically?
Because we rail on those games way too hard, and we want to save that for the Fallout 4 special.
What do you mean?
So, Sabre, and obviously in the chat as well, if you have your own ideas of things that annoy you about open world games, do put them in the chat, and we will talk about them too. But Sabre, if you want to start, since you came up with the topic yesterday, what's something that annoys you about open world games?
Well, I think one of the things I mentioned was this whole like Ubisoft formula thing, especially of like all the new games, Horizon Zero West, and like Assassin's Creed, all the new ones. Everything is just there and laid out for you. You don't really have to go and find everything. It's all there on the map, and it's all handheld and led to everything. And how is that a open world, your own adventure, go search for thing kind of game if it's already just all here you go, just go get it?
So the lack of exploration, even though an open world game is supposedly supposed to allow you to do that.
Yeah, it basically takes away the freedom of discovery, in my opinion. And isn't that really supposed to be one of the biggest parts of these games? Like, you find this really cool weapon hidden in some weird cave that you didn't know was there when you've played 150 hours of the game, or something like that, I don't want the game to go over here because there's a weapon here, or go over there because there's a stone eagle or something. It's like, no, don't do that. I can't stand it, because what's the point in playing?
Dane, what about, because you said you actually had quite a lot to talk about today, so I'm going to...
I didn't say a lot. How do you wish?
What about Genshin? I know that's...
Yes, Genshin Impact.
How does that deal?
And by extension, Breath of the Wild.
How does that deal with it? Exploration?
Perfectly fine. There's so much to find everywhere. There is an interactive map online, and things are a limited resource, but you will find stuff. You could just go onto the interactive map and say, find everything I want. But main part of the game is, finding things, collecting them to give to statues, to do stuff and things, and all the other stuff, so you have a slight bonus. I'm going to stop talking, because that's going to go to a different issue soon.
Okay, we got quite a few things popping up in chat. So, Dino Army says AI pathfinding does not mix with open world games.
Genshin is not a Breath of the Wild clone.
Rami says companions getting lost. I think those two are pretty similar. I know from Fallout 3, I once completely lost Forks. He just
Same.
he just disappeared. I think he fell through the map, and that was it. I never saw him again. Her again, because obviously Forks is actually a female.
Female. Yes.
Spoilers. Oh my god.
Spoilers. Oh well. Yeah. I think the big mutant fell through the map, and I never saw him again.
There are a few instances where Forks can get lost. They normally go to Underworld. Normally. So.
Fallout says climbing and height limitations.
Yes.
I'm not sure about that one. I mean, Skyrim allows you to pretty much climb every mountain if you know the perfect route.
That's kind of the issue. And then things like Breath of the Wild and Genshin obviously have the stamina meter, which limits to how high you can actually climb. And then obviously map geography and geometry stops you from being able to do small things which seem obvious that you should be able to do.
I think what Fallout might be thinking about is that there's lots of environments, especially on Skyrim, which are in essentially just one level, that you don't really get to make use of the height that's there. Like, you can't freely climb terrain in some places. Like, you can't climb houses in Riften, for example, and there would be no need to.
Well, I mean, not every game needs it. Imagine just throwing the Dying Light parkour system into just every game you possibly could.
That's a fun one, Dying Light.
That's the zombie one, right? Yes.
Yeah. In Haran. So, going about AI tracking as well. That just reminds me of the very first time I played New Vegas a long time ago, and anytime an enemy was coming at you, all you had to do was jump on top of a rock, and its tracking would lose you, and it would just start running in the opposite direction.
That's poor. Dinosaur King says open world games bother me because actions have consequences, and then you have that extra job of babysitting. I think particular open world games have that aspect. RPGs, for example, are always going to be about consequences. There are sandbox open world games, things like Minecraft, but then you have that extra job of babysitting. I get what you mean, like that. There are some quests. Let's talk about quests. Quests in open world games really suck, I think. They're usually either one of two kinds: go here, kill a thing, and bring something to me, or go here, deliver a thing, come back to me. They're just so boring.
I'll go here, gather a thing, and then kill some things to get back.
I feel this is more going into like a RPG MMO issue now.
I mean, it's still an open world game.
Yeah, I know it is, but it's more particularly that genre which has that issue.
Phoenix says Halo has some of the best AI for allies or enemies, especially in Halo 3 or Reach. Halo 3, yes. Reach, I thought my allies were not very useful at all.
I mean, you played with me, so...
Rami says not being creative with barriers, opting with invisible walls is lame.
I understand that from a tech point of view.
Yeah. I mean, Phoenix says that you could just have a huge cliff or a huge wall or a thick forest. But then I think some games overuse those tropes of using like thick walls or thick forests or a cliff to say you can't proceed beyond the boundary. Absolutely not.
There are games that just do it absolutely 100% lazily, where they just put the invisible wall. You can see the path where you can go, but they just put an invisible wall and go, no. Like, I think that's the worst.
I feel there's also a case made here about the scope of the game you're meant to be able to get to.
Put a legitimate reason in why. Don't just go invisible wall.
What do you mean by scope of the game?
Well, for example, in Skyrim, leaving Skyrim would make the game not about Skyrim.
True.
And it does suffer from invisible wall syndrome
Yes.
in that game.
Well, actually, they have these like gatehouses on the paths that go to the border.
I'm sure you're very well aware of the glitches in open world games which allow you to get where you're not meant to be.
Well, yes, of course.
Bethesda.
And in another situation, there's a lot of games which have, we haven't actually released this area yet, please no.
Well, that's specifically for Genshin, isn't it?
No.
Oh god, I remember, like,
Attention.
I can't remember what expansion it was, but I remember there was one of the really old World of Warcraft expansions when they were adding one of the new cities, and you weren't supposed to be able to get in there. But if you, I can't remember what class it was, but if you had a certain class that had an ability, you could get through a gap in the wall, go in there, and get like vanity pets and things like that you weren't even supposed to be able to have for like a month. It's because of like the way they built the map.
Never try to stop a gamer going anywhere. They will find a
Exactly.
way.
Could you put that away?
As Ian Malcolm says, life finds a way.
Thank you, I feel suddenly less frightened.
Dino Army says, most open world games I've played barely have barriers and the maps were so large I didn't need to go to the edge of the map. That's so map size. This is a good thing. Me and Sabre were talking about this quite a lot the other day.
Mm-hmm.
Games that claim to have big maps or even bigger maps, and the Fallout games are a perfect example of this.
You can't harp on about Fallout too much.
I know, but this will be the one thing we harp on because it's a good example. You know, Fallout New Vegas, they said the map was bigger than Fallout 3, and then Fallout 4, they said the map was bigger than Fallout 3 or New Vegas. However, a majority of Fallout 4's map was open water that had nothing in it. And a whole side of Fallout New Vegas' map was just a big rocky ridge that had nothing in it. The map was bigger in theory, but in gameplay terms, the maps were basically the exact same size.
Pretty much, yeah.
And it really winds me up when they design open worlds with absolutely nothing in it. Like, just nothing to go and find. Apart from the key locations, there's just nothing else beyond them.
I mean,
That's one thing I do like in some of the Fallout games. It's just like the sheer random buildings. Like just let's go to Hubris Comics, or let's just go to this random store down the road that has some weird trap set up in it or something. Like Fallout 3 in New Vegas just had some really weird stuff around, but then I felt they could have expanded so much more on the games, and they just. Like you said, they claimed for a massive map when it's not really there. Like, what is it, like 20-something% or 30% of the Fallout 4 map is just ocean? I think it's 23% or something. Like, and there's nothing in it, which is the biggest annoyance.
yeah. Genshin's good about that. Their map is quite large, and a lot of it is water, but this doesn't include sub-maps or the things you actually find, which are items too small to be picked up on this. Which there actually is things to find. I'm harping on about Genshin because I played it more.
Phoenix says, I think having more space than needed, like the story never going to certain places, is really good. Only when they have attention paid to it allows post-story playability. For sure, Phoenix, we're not saying that it's a bad thing to have a large map or a bad thing to have locations to go to. What we're saying is that it's a bad thing to have a large map but have absolutely nothing in it. Not populating it, not having a reason to explore it.
Or it feeling like it's a lie, like, this map is 2 times the size, but we made 30% of it ocean with only a couple of things in it.
I mean, Skyrim had the North Ocean, but there was actually shipwrecks to go and find in it. There's actually stuff to go and find in that ocean. In fact, a lot of the water sources in Skyrim actually do have things underneath them.
Yes, they do.
Like the fort at Lake Illinois, there's that prison that's on that waterfall. There's all the ships in the north in lakes, and most lakes have like a sunken boat to go and find something in the bottom of.
And you know, especially what they have, that bastard mud crab that's stopping you fast traveling.
Oh, you cannot fast travel because there are enemies nearby, and it's like...
But Muddy is so cute.
What enemy? What enemy is legitimately stopping me fast traveling?
There's just a mud crab nuzzling your toes.
Hi there.
Rami says lots of games claim open world, but not really. Can you give us an example, Rami? Fallout says I had to walk away for a moment, but to go back to the climbing yet thing... Yes, partially right on both ends, but like the current game I am playing is Metal Gear Solid 5. See, that's something else we can discuss. This is the... I wouldn't say it's a problem, but it's definitely a trait at the moment that every game is going open world. You know, Metal Gear Solid and Halo and...
Sonic.
And what's that one that Dino Army was playing? Ghost Recon. They were all traditionally level-based linear storytelling.
Yeah, because
And they've all
wasn't
gone-
Wildlands the first open world Ghost Recon? I think was Wildlands. I
Yeah.
can't remember.
And they've all gone, oh, you've just caught Lilianasaura. Lovely jubbly. Dane's just caught a Lilianasaura on his mobile game. And an Allosaurus. Anyway,
Sorry.
yes.
I swear I'm paying attention.
They've all gone open world. You know, these traditional... No worries, no guy. These traditional linear-based games, level-based, have all gone open world. And I'm not sure whether it's a good thing. You know, do all games have to be open world? I mean, are linear level-based games going the way of the dinosaur? Should they go the way of the dinosaur?
No.
Well, that's the problem, though, isn't it? Because the big companies like EA and all that lot, and the people that view games more as a monetary income rather than a thing for people to have fun with, they're trying to force this whole narrative that the linear, you know, storyline games are dead. They're just pushing that as hard as they can. Because with an open world game, you can make more grind, more go pick up all the shiny things, more go do this, keep traveling here, go back and forth, do this, do that. Like, it fits the narrative way better.
It's definitely easier to monetize an open world game, I think.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So, it's funny that Fallout brought up, I forgot the game.
Metal Gear Solid 5?
Yeah, Metal Gear Solid 5. Because he was showing me it the other day, and in his hub base, I don't need to.
Okay.
I really don't need to reduce the volume.
Mm.
He was showing me his hub base, and from one side to the other, it was just over a mile, so like 1,789 meters, I think it was. And his fast travel system took him 4 minutes 47 seconds to get from one point to the other point. And I'm just sitting there thinking to myself, there's some athletes who can run a 10-minute mile. So they could run half a mile the time it took him to helicopter an entire mile.
Nerd Guy says, I do not think all games need to be open world. That can be fun, but I've always felt open world just means the map is going to be less detailed, more empty, and it makes it almost impossible to hold tension in a storyline. I fully agree. Fallout 4 has that problem. You know, the whole point is supposed to be that your potato-looking baby has been captured and taken away from you, and you as the father figure are desperate to go and rescue them. However, within about 30 minutes, you are completely distracted by building a settlement in the corner of the map, or dealing with the Minutemen, or killing the scripted Deathclaw sequence. Like, the story of any open world game very, very quickly ends up going awry. And I do believe in that. There's a meme for Skyrim, of that scene in Shrek where he goes, "Quest, I'm already on a quest."
Yes.
Because the minute you walk into a village in Skyrim, you just end up gathering 20 million more quests. It's less of an issue in Skyrim because you are the Dragonborn, you're going around investigating stuff. But for Fallout 4, it's like, I just want to save my potato baby. However, I then must build this settlement. I must go and help this settlement. I must go and deal with these gunners.
Being like, actually, I'm not going to say much more about Fallout 4 actually, because again, a different topic for a different time. I was about to say something else, but
Don't you love it when we get sidetracked? This is why most of these get like cut down in time.
Rami's mentioned Final Fantasy 15, which started as an open world but dropped it halfway through because it's over a decade into production limbo. Really? I didn't know that Final Fantasy 15 actually stops becoming open world halfway through.
In development, it did.
Wow, that's disappointing.
It's open world light, kind of, I think.
Mm. Is that because they probably wanted to drop the homoerotic undertones of 4 guys in a convertible driving around? One of which is always topless.
They never dropped that.
No.
That was the main part of the story, right?
No. Nerd Guy says, yeah, I never finished Breath of the Wild because I got too damn distracted.
I'm just remembering watching many a drunk stream of you playing Breath of the Wild.
But I was actually tempted to play Breath of the Wild as my very first Zelda game.
You're gonna need to ask me to borrow this.
The Switch that's currently in the Jurassic Park case that I bullied you to buy for it.
Yes. Because it's only on Switch.
I know, but that means I won't be able to stream it.
I know. That's
well, there are ways.
We can, but I already bought the Switch dock secondhand and then banjaxed it myself by giving it a new case. I'm not gonna do anything more than that.
Personally, I'd recommend Twilight Princess for your first Zelda game. Oh, I don't think I want to go anywhere with the title Twilight in it.
No, Twilight Princess is actually good. He plays a wolf. For a large part of it.
So it doesn't have glittering vampires in it?
Nope.
No.
Actually, it has no vampires.
Oh, good. Rami recommends Ocarina of Time, which is the one everyone recommends, I think, for a Zelda game.
My very, very first Zelda game was Link's Awakening, and I quite enjoyed it, but that was Game Boy Color.
Oof. Anyway, back to open world games. Maybe we should start with what was the first open world game we all played?
Sorry, I'm getting pinged on Discord.
First truly
No, me
open
personally.
world-
I think mine was Fallout 3. I think.
Yeah, I think that's the same actually. I was trying to think, was it WoW or was it Fallout 3? And I think I played Fallout 3 a good while before I played WoW.
And then after that, it would have been New Vegas and then Skyrim, I think. What about you, Dane? Because you're quite a new gamer, aren't you?
No, I'm not. I don't remember.
Oh yeah, the GTA games.
Oh yeah, GTA's are open worlds.
By that logic, is Spore an open world game?
Spore is open world, yeah.
So would Spore be earlier than?
Would Spore be earlier than? No, I think I played Fallout 3 before I played Spore. I don't know.
See,
Actually, I'm not sure now.
I have sown confusion into the mix. Yes.
God damn you.
So,
I have one
how about
question.
another trope of open world games? Them being released in broken, barely playable, janky messes that are never anything that they promise.
I think that's definitely a problem recently, yes.
Not even recently, like No Man's Sky, the Fallout games, all the Fallout games were pretty much released broken. Like New Vegas was the worst rated Fallout game because it was basically not playable at launch. Not properly, anyway.
Oh yeah, Dinosaur King makes some good points. There's some very old PS2 driver and Grand Theft Auto for the PlayStation 1.
I think Driver was on the PS1 as well.
Yeah, that I do remember that game. So that was probably my first open world game.
I'm just looking up stuff.
Prototype for PS2. Open world means free murder sprees, says Dinosaur King.
Oh, Prototype. I remember when I first played Prototype on the Xbox. I loved that game. It was so brutal.
I'm going to just go out on a limb and say maybe not, because a lot of the open world games I played are like, you're not allowed to kill civilians, and then you get disconnected. Cough, cough.
Assassin's Creed, yes.
Yep. I think my first open world game would be the original Assassin's Creed then, which was 2007.
Hmm.
I'm dating myself a bit, aren't I? I don't know. It's the only one I actually know is considered an open world game, okay?
So back to another trope.
Oh god.
The tendency to put not very useful equipment in stuff. What do you look? What?
Look at what it suggested.
Like Genshin Impact.
Why has it done that?
I wouldn't classify Red Dead Redemption 2 like Genshin Impact.
No, that was the suggestion of what did you mean?
Oh, I see. Right. No, yeah, the tendency to put not very useful items after really difficult battles or in really difficult to unlock chests.
Come get your legendary toothpick of 1 damaging.
So basically what you're saying is Nettlebane.
Or Nettlebane, yes. Or like we've got this chest and it requires master lockpicking, and you go back to it once you have your master lockpicking, and it's like inside you find 9 gold pieces, a magic potion, and this iron dagger. And it's like, that shit wasn't worth the price of the lockpick.
I was going to say, the loot and chests directly is influenced by your level.
But sometimes it's still really rubbish.
Yeah.
Like in one of the ones that reminds me of that. This one's deliberately that way rather than random loot or anything. In Fallout 3, the fuck you room requires 100 lockpicking to open the door, and all that's inside is big black letters on the back wall saying "fuck you."
Dino Army says most of the guns in Wildlands are completely useless, and after each zone you get a trophy gun, but you can't edit them, so they're also completely useless. What?
Wunderbar!
Maybe the definition of useless here is being a bit too broad.
Nerd Guy says, to be perfectly honest, the only open world game I ever truly got into and loved to death was Elden Ring. Sabre, you should be able to have something about. What do you think of Elden? What makes Elden Ring a good open world game, Sabre?
Well, the fact that it's completely gives the freedom of exploration back to the player. You don't, again, you don't have this like Assassin's Creed thing where everything is all laid out on the map for you. Like, go here for this. There might be an item here. There might be a thing there. It's the game is just sort of like, here's the map, here's the world, go die.
Many times.
And I love that because it gives, like, it makes you feel more one with your character because you're the one making your own story, you're the one doing all your own exploring and going where you want to go rather than feeling like you're being railroaded into collectibles or things. And the quests in the game, like, you can go find a person that wants you to go do something, and then they'll be somewhere else in the world, and it's not going to give you a quest marker to them, so if you miss them, you miss them. And that's that, and it's like, I like that because it makes the world feel more real, I guess, in a way. Whereas, again, like things like Horizon Zero Dawn, Horizon Zero West, and Assassin's Creed, they're all just... It holds your hand too much, and it just caters too much to, like, not really having to feel like you're doing anything, and it feels soulless. I think is the biggest problem for me.
I think
Whereas
a lot of open world games feel soulless. I got that specifically with Assassin's Creed 2 and a bit.
because like
I can't remember the
I-
name.
I enjoy Assassin's Creed for about maybe like 30, maybe 50 hours, depending how big the game. Like I played Valhalla for about 50 hours, and then I got bored. It was great for those 50 hours. I played the first Assassin's Creed until I realized every time you go to a new city, you do the exact same thing in the exact same order, and like it just was like, yeah, no, I'm bored already.
Oh yeah, the second one was definitely better, but the one that they then released after, which was like 2.5, it just felt so soulless. Like it was just a cash grab. Brotherhood, that one.
It goes
Assassin's Creed died after the second one.
Oh, sorry, go on.
I was just reading chat. Like Assassin's Creed died after the second one, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
I feel it did for a while, but I feel like Black Flag was all right. And the newer ones, like they're fun, but then again, all the problems that I'm listing off at the same time are there, which kind of make it soulless and dead. But there is fun to be had. Like some people live and breathe that kind of game where it's just like, yeah, here's everything you want, just go and do it, and they'll just go and do it, and that's what they like. They want their hands held, and they want to be led through a game. I don't.
I personally enjoyed Syndicate myself as well.
Hmm?
Assassin's Creed Syndicate.
No, Syndicate.
Aye.
Yeah, no, I didn't play an Assassin's Creed game after 2 and a bit.
You did.
I'm a bit like Nerd Guy. I was just not tempted to go back to the franchise.
No, you did.
What?
Whenever you came around to my place, you played Black Flag.
No, I didn't. I watched you play Black Flag.
I gave you the controller.
I didn't do anything with it. No, I've not played Black Flag. I watched you play it. I never did much with it myself. I really didn't.
No.
Yeah, I mean
Isolation
play
is
as in like
local.
for hours and hours. I don't mean like half an hour while you were going to the loo.
You got stuck on the side of the ship.
Turok is an open world with jump scares. Dinosaur King. Which Turok are you on about? Because none of them are open world. As far as I'm aware.
No, like the classic ones, definitely not.
PlayStation 2. Oh, you mean oh god, I can't. Evolution?
Yep, that was 2002.
Yeah, that was slightly open world. Skyrim had jump scares too with those damn saber-tooths.
Leave those saber-tooths alone. Don't you dare.
It's actually like the random arrows. Like you'd just be wandering around and suddenly you get stuck with an arrow by someone you haven't seen. Could Alien Isolation be called open world?
No. Not in...
Well, in theory it could, because you can explore wherever you like on the station. You can go back to previous
you are
areas.
roaded. You are roaded. You can't always go back to everywhere you want. There are, it does get locked off and everything. You are kind of pushed in a direction. So I wouldn't say open world. It's like to me, it's like Dark Souls 2. It's not open world, but you have a choice of multiple paths and you can go back and forth on yourself. But it's not really open world.
It's like half open.
You are free to explore, but I wouldn't call it open.
I think the term open world kind of disappears off if any confines end up happening, which are supposed to be outside the playable area, which aren't meant to be outside the playable area. So if you're like forced to go a certain way, or you can't explore everything, and there is very obviously a place you can't go, I think that just defeats the purpose of being called open world. Because then we have open world-like games, which then just opens up an entire spectrum. Yay!
I'd say the Fable games like 2 and 3, yes. Number 1, definitely not.
Draken, I think, is an old 16-bit open world. There was an old RPG called Draken, which I really liked, but unfortunately you can't get it to run on anything modern anymore.
Kerbal Space Program.
Kerbal Space Program is not open world, it's a sandbox, I would say.
There is a limit to how far you can go, isn't there? I don't know. Is it more of a simulation game?
It's more of a sandbox sim, I would say.
This is where our definitions of what is an open world is going to get very interesting.
Hmm.
What do we define as an open world?
Trespasser, says Dinosaur King.
I don't.
Game I've heard of but not played.
I feel like I've been living under a rock.
The Fable games were pseudo open world, I think. Not quite open, but you could still explore a lot. Yeah, I'd agree with that. Like, the Fable games just had very large maps with lots of branching paths.
Again, like I said earlier, like 2 and 3, not 1. 1 was linear as hell.
Does open world have to be 3D?
Nope.
Yeah, probably not. But I don't know of any 2D ones.
Dwarf Fortress.
Yep.
What?
Dwarf Fortress.
Dwarf Fortress.
Technically, also oxygen not included.
Oxygen Not Included is a building game.
Yeah.
It's not open world.
But is there a limit to where you can go? Inside the playable area?
Yes. It's not open world.
Ah.
I think open world for me, there has to be an element of personal exploration. There has to be a quest structure.
So, by definition, then Dwarf Fortress for you would also not be one. You've never played Dwarf Fortress, have you?
No, I've not even heard of it, no.
It's like a top-down, very pixel-based game where it's very old and it's very complicated, where you literally make a dwarf fortress and it's got some crazy things that just randomly happen for no reason. Like Catpocalypse is a thing. Don't let cats breed in frickin' Dwarf Fortress. They'll destroy the world.
Mm-hmm.
That reminds me of the Fennec Foxes in Zoo Tycoon 2, as I'm sure Dinosaur King will remember. They just breed like rabbits.
God, I haven't played Zoo Tycoon in forever. I remember last time I did, just messing around with the Dinosaur Digs expansion.
Nerdkai says, open world to me means no loading screens at all unless going indoors.
Or underground.
Or to a sub-area.
Shenmue, Rami mentioned Shenmue. Shenmue is one of those infamous games, isn't it? It's famous for all the completely wrong reasons.
So, I've looked up 2D open world games, and I don't trust this list. Do you want to know why? It has Breath of the Wild on it.
It's not 2D.
I know.
How can anyone look at Breath of the Wild and say that's 2D? It's cel-shaded.
It's generated the automated list of the games mentioned in the article, and Breath of the Wild is on there.
Oh, no, that's disappointing. Whoever
Yeah.
wrote that article clearly doesn't know what he's on about.
Apparently, it's 2D games that feel like they're open world, like Shantae and Masamune the Demon Blade and Metroid Fusion. Metroid actually would be close enough to a 2D open world game, right?
Hmm.
I actually wouldn't know. Never played it.
The worst open world game we've played.
The worst.
Far Cry 2. Far Cry 2 was I think I can legitimately say Far Cry 2 was the point where game companies started overdoing open world games, because Far Cry 1 was a linear horror thriller story based experience, and then Far Cry 2 was they made it open world and they made it about some mercenary going and shooting up South Africa, and
Demonetization incoming.
it had all of the worst traits. Really repetitive, grindy quests. the same types of repetitive grindy quests. And the map was spotted with radio towers and security checkpoints that never ever stopped being manned. So you'd clear out a security checkpoint, you'd drive a little bit, and then you'd drive back, and that security checkpoint would be full of people again. And it was repetitive and boring and frustrating and just not very fun. Nerd Guy says he's excited for the new Hogwarts Legacy game. True, I think that looks very interesting.
Which one?
It's called Hogwarts Legacy. It's a new open world. True, but Far Cry 3 was very good. Far Cry 4 was just 3 reskinned. I haven't played Far Cry 3 or Far Cry 4.
I have not played any of these games.
Far Cry 3 was the one with the mental insane guy, right?
No clue. Like I said, I have never played any of these games.
Play 3 says no guy. Well, I might have to get it if it's on Steam. Which I doubt, because it'll probably be behind. Does Wing Commander 1990 count? You fly a starfighter, but you can go almost anywhere, but space is mostly empty outside the established sectors. I suppose in very broad senses, then yes, that's open world. But I think open world is a bit more than just having a very open world. I think there's elements of open world
A very
games.
open map.
Yeah.
Very large map, even.
An open map does not necessarily mean an open world game.
It's weird, isn't it?
A bit weird.
You're weird.
Well, come on, you've barely spoken. So a trait that
I've been speaking a lot.
a trait that open world games do that annoys you. What's something that annoys you about Genshin?
Well, I love the way you're just specifying Genshin now.
Well, it's because it's the one that you've played the most, and you yourself
No,
said.
it's not.
Okay, well, give me something that you don't like about open world games.
Okay. Something very easily that hasn't been mentioned yet, the grind.
Yeah, the grind.
Yeah. Because it's always... You don't need to gesture me to go on if I'm just acknowledging something you said.
You keep putting long pauses in.
Yes, because I'm just breathing, believe it or not. I do that occasionally.
I have to edit your videos, remember?
I know. And I have to deal with you making videos. That's probably why I haven't put it on in a while, because you keep complaining about them. Anyway. Yeah, the grinding open world games is just... It feels really artificial. No. No, no, no. No, no, no. Yeah, especially in things like Genshin, Assassin's Creed, what's the other one I was thinking of?
Dying Light?
Yeah, it's just the going across the world to get the materials to upgrade yourself so you're slightly better, so you can get to another level of having to upgrade yourself, so you can then go away halfway across the world in every direction. Just get a few more rare materials to get yourself a higher level to keep going and going and going and going until you hit some arbitrary level cap where it decides you can't go higher than this at the moment. And then eventually it's like, well, we've launched a DLC which now makes the level cap 7 levels higher.
Badly conceptualized crafting leads to grind, says Rami. Genshin wants to grind to frustrate you and pay money so you go faster. See, Subnautica...
You can't pay for the grind on Genshin.
Yeah, sometimes a game being open world feels slightly like an artificial way to bloat the game's length. Subnautica has a similar system where you can't really progress the story until you've grinded to get the materials to build the component that allows you to, dive slightly deeper or find where you're supposed to be going. There's this big kind of dead space in the middle of Subnautica where you basically have to get the diving upgrade for the the first like pressure upgrade for the Seamoth.
Mhm.
And it takes a lot of grinding and trying to actually find the fucking that upgrade, because it's not one that's basically unlocked. You have to go and unlock it, which means you have to go and check all the boxes around the map, and it basically it sticks you. It stalls the progression.
Yeah, I was gonna say Rami, but I don't want to interrupt Fletcher. It's because Genshin has gacha elements, so that's why people drop a shit ton of money on it.
Yes, Dinosaur King mentioning games that make you pay $20 to $100 to get level 1000 gear that makes you a god at Chapter 1. Like the newest Diablo Immortal game that someone dropped, what was it, $16,000 to get one piece of legendary equipment just to demonstrate how bad the microtransaction system is in that game.
I think he was on a simulated roller.
Well, didn't people calculate that if you wanted to get the full set of actually like end game gear, that it would take you 10 years to grind it or something?
Yep.
At least Subnautica looks gorgeous, says an guy. It certainly does. Hey Dane, is it bad that I haven't played Genshin in months?
No, it's not. We're about to get Sumeru, so get ready for that.
Dinosaur King said, the one thing that annoys me in open world games is the 2-year tutorials and the effing hand-holding.
Yep.
Yeah, can't complain about that.
Let me explore the damn game myself. Leave me alone.
I thought I was out of the tutorial in the game, and I was like, oh cool, let me just go over here. I was like, yeah, you still need to do this before you go this way. I'm like, what? But I cleared the tutorial 2 hours ago. Don't tell me I've just been doing tutorial for 2 hours.
Yeah, you know what the best tutorial is that I ever experienced?
What?
It was actually Elden Ring's tutorial, because the first time I played the game, I walked straight past it and didn't even know that it was an area.
It's like that meme of the car on the highway. Tutorial, rest of game.
Legitimately, like, at the very start of Elden Ring, like, you get up from your whatever, and you could go straight forward and out, or there's, like, a person in a chair, and there's, like, a dark area you can drop down into, which, you know, it's like, it teaches you what buttons to do what and everything like that. And, yeah, I didn't even bother looking, because I just saw Cliff and fought Death and didn't bother thinking about it and just went. And then later on, one of my friends was like, yeah, you do know there's, like, a whole area down there with, like, a little mini-boss. And it's like, no, I didn't.
Aww. By the way, Dinosaur King, open world and sandbox are not antonyms. Because Minecraft is an open world sandbox.
It is
game.
a sandbox, yeah.
Yeah, it's an open world sandbox.
Yeah.
It's weird. Because they're not antonyms for each other. You can make them be both. Sandbox just means you have freedom of expression to build.
Sabre, another trait or trope?
Another trait or trope. Another trait of a lot of, like, I think this, like, again leans more into MMO style games, where it's kind of like every time they bring out a new expansion, everything you had before is completely worthless, regardless how long you spend trying to earn it.
I'll tell you a game which does that well.
All of them?
No, because then there wouldn't be an issue that you have. I meant a game which does it where if it launches an expansion, your gear isn't like made redundant. Guild Wars 2 is quite good at that.
Yes, but don't you have to put a crap ton of time into, again, making it worth using?
No, not after. If you get it originally, then you're set. Pretty much for the rest of the game, I think.
So you can take normal equipment from Guild Wars 2 and use it and progress through an expansion perfectly fine.
Yep. I mean, you don't even need ascended gear. You just need exotic, I think, which is you can buy off the marketplace.
Rami says loot boxes equal gambling. Yes, I fully agree with you there. Inevitably,
They're not loot boxes, though. They're now surprise mechanics, so they're not calling it gambling. So
Yeah.
it's fine.
You're not laughing.
Eventually, we will have to have a discussion about loot boxes, I suppose.
Didn't we already?
It is frustrating, but I suppose it does effectively keep your interest focused on the new expansion, which is their goal. That's true.
Bye, Fallout.
I mean,
I understand the need for new gear and like always becoming more and more and more powerful. It's just the fact that like with games like the biggest one in my opinion is World of Warcraft, because
Wow.
you get an expansion, you'll get an item like the Heart of Azeroth, and
Or
you
the
spend
artifact weapons.
forever grinding reps and grinding materials and grinding things to level this thing up. Next expansion, it's basically put it in the bin, and you spent unreasonable amounts of time leveling that stupid thing up. Same with the artifact weapons and all that, and then it's completely useless. Like, if it was like a bit of like, material grind here and there and, doing some bits and pieces, that'd be fine, but it's the fact that they literally make you do so much grinding for nothing, basically.
Yeah, that's why I prefer stuff like, I suppose Final Fantasy does it as well, because the limit of the gear is based on the level of the gear. Oh wait, no, it does have that issue then. What I more meant is it's why I don't mind Guild Wars 2 so much, because every expansion is more additive instead of padding. It gives you more instead of requiring you to arbitrarily level something else up.
Also, as well, when you actually think about games like World of Warcraft and stuff like that, I'm going to keep mentioning World of Warcraft.
Fair.
Like, I find it so funny. You spend the whole game getting better gear to get to the end game to do the raids to get the better gear. Why do you need the better gear? To raid. But you raided to get the better gear, so why raid more to get more better gear to raid? Like,
because you want bigger numbers. You want the most spectacular trousers of all, as Zero Punctuation is proud of saying.
isn't that Diablo? I think that was the Diablo video, if I remember right.
A lot of MMOs, Guild Wars, Warcraft, it's all about getting the bigger number. Even if it's only one better than the thing you're using, you will use the thing that's one better, because it's a bigger number.
Joke's on you. There's no bigger numbers than what I have currently.
At the moment.
Yeah, there's nothing higher than this. Well, the tier thing of how Guild Wars works based on rarity, and once you hit Ascended, the numbers don't get any bigger. So Legendary Armor is no better than Ascended, except you can change its stats freely. That's the only thing.
I haven't even mentioned, actually, what I think is the worst MMO I've ever played, which is also open world.
Oh?
I think I might know what you're going to say. Yeah.
Star Trek Online.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's coming a mile away.
In theory, it's open world because you can go to any planet on the galactic map at all. You can just go there. However, half of them, there will be no point going there because there will be nothing to do at all.
Sounds like
It's also
Mass Effect.
Star Trek Online has the worst loot box system ever. You think loot boxes are bad enough in things like Fortnite. Star Trek Online comes out with a new type of loot box every 3 to 6 months. So every 3 to 6 months...
3 to 6 months?
Every 3 to 6 months, there is a new loot box. For that expansion. So there are now I think it's probably about 20 different types of loot box with completely different things within them, all of which you have to use real money to open.
So...
And they have a currency you can only get from the loot box to unlock other things in a completely different store.
I would like to let people know, the entire time Fletcher's been talking, he's just been staring at me.
I'm sorry.
He's just been making direct eye contact. And earlier when he was holding a knife, I felt really threatened by him because he was just staring.
Was it made by the same people as Star Wars: The Old Republic? No, it's owned by Perfect Worlds.
I'll research.
You want to know the one thing that actually pisses me off about the Old Republic? Or two things, actually.
Go for it while I'm researching.
If you are on a free account, they limit your experience gain, so you actually earn less experience.
Oh, I hate that about
they
MMOs.
They limit the amount of storage capacity you have. They limit your ability to, I think it's like whatever the transmogging and recoloring and all that stuff. Like,
Oh, cryptic. Sorry.
and I can't. There's more stuff that they do as well. But if you're on a free account, you basically just can't do anything.
Yeah, no. The tendency of MMO games to make the free player experience, if they're free to play MMOs, make their experience awful for free players. Guild Wars 2
Is a bit of an exception. Because Guild Wars 2 itself is always free to play.
Star Wars: The Old Republic, F you, pay me.
Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic. Yes, I agree. Completely awesome game.
So, there was a game that I just sprung to mind, which really emulates this, is if you do the free trial of Final Fantasy XIV. Free trial being you can play up to level 60, and while you're at level 60 you can still play, but you won't gain any experience. So you can experience...
I don't know.
Oh, go on.
I feel that the Final Fantasy XIV free-to-play is actually quite... It gives you quite a lot to do. It basically gives you, like, all of the original expansion and everything to do. It's quite reasonable. I mean, again, unlike WoW, like, you can go to level 20, then go away.
Yeah. The problem with the Final Fantasy XIV one is you can't make a party, you can't add friends. Well, you can add friends, but they have to instigate it. You can't whisper people. You can't do dungeons. You can't queue for dungeons without going to the dungeon proper. And
I thought you could do dungeons, but you had to physically go to them.
yeah, that's what I just said.
Oh, okay.
It's you can't use a lot of the quality of life things, and you can't create a party. You can join one if someone who has a proper account can invite you to it. It's
That's a typical. Again, all right. There's a freaking a trait of MMOs and open world MMOs like that.
Yeah.
All of them do that. Like freaking the Old Republic does it. WoW does it.
Yeah. That's why I was mentioning it, because it was a prime example.
It's AIDS.
Oh, it is.
I think we should avoid talking too much about MMOs, because I think this is a good future topic to discuss, because I can discuss more about Star Trek Online and the Secret Worlds, which was a really good MMO that had a lot of potential, but just plunged off of a cliff. Let's go back to non-MMO open worlds. We've all played Skyrim here.
Yeah.
I mean, I played until the game told me that it wouldn't let me finish. I think it was the second Dragon Shout quest. It just kept telling me to go back.
Oh. Well, we've
So
all...
about 50 hours into my first character, the game was like, "No, you can't have that. Go back and do it again." Oh wait, you've done it, but you can't finish that quest. Go back and do
Rami
it.
spent about $2,000 on Secret... Oh, Christ, Ram. Well, then we'll definitely have to have a chat about that.
Secret World?
Yeah. I'll say about it later. It's an MMO.
Oh.
But yeah, going back to Skyrim. So we've all played Skyrim. What are some of the things Skyrim does that are bad?
I honestly need to play more Skyrim. Sorry.
I can hear Sabre talking, but he's not coming through on the Discord.
I'm not talking. There's someone outside.
Oh, that was someone outside.
People are outside having a barbecue.
Ah, okay.
I can hear them.
Nerguy has still not finished the story of Skyrim. Rami says it was pretty good at the start. Dino has never played Skyrim. Played hundreds of hours on side quests. No one ever finishes Skyrim. I have finished Skyrim twice.
Loser.
I finished the main Civil War quest, and I finished the Dragon quest as well.
He actually has time to play Skyrim.
It was when I was started at university.
Oh, that explains a lot.
Skyrim has a lot of glitches, yes.
Elder Ring.
One of the annoying without mods the game is not good. Without mods the game is not. I've definitely been spoiled by mods for Skyrim.
I mean, for a first-time experience, it's fine, but then, like, as soon as you start messing with mods, that's it. You can never go back.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, honestly, like, it's the one thing I keep pointing out about Skyrim nowadays. Everyone talks about how much they love Skyrim. It's like, no, you don't love Skyrim. You love your 20 gigs of mods.
Inigo?
Inigo. Yeah, because the companions in Skyrim are utterly awful. Really terrible pathing, really terrible. Like, you'd be sneaking along and your companion would just be walking around behind you.
That sounds like dog meat.
Dinosaur King, did you mean Elder Scrolls?
No, he meant Elden Ring,
Huh?
I think.
I don't know. It's such a mashup. I don't
still
know.
love my Bear Apocalypse mod. I've not heard of that one.
But
Skyrim does have a lot of go here, find a
Yeah.
thing, come back and give it to me quests.
I mean, as soon as I get out the tutorial, I kind of deviate from Riverwood and go half the other way across the world. Come back level 20 and I'm like, yeah, sure, I'll do that quest for you, which is meant for level 1s.
Yeah. I left my sword, shield, diary, bag, cloak, something of that nature in cave, dungeon, with group of mercenaries. Can you go and recover it and bring it back to me, please?
12 years later.
12 years
Oh,
later.
by the way, here you go. Yes, I mean both. What?
I love the anime waifu mods. Oh god, no. That being said, one of the best mods for Skyrim is called Legend of the Dragonborn, which adds a museum which you
I know, I have the mod.
do stuff for. And that actually adds lots of items you can just randomly find by exploring Skyrim
People's
to
heads
add
as well.
to the museum,
You can take people's heads.
as well as taking people's heads. But we're not going to mention
But I did.
that.
It's when
Fallout
you do...
76 has a waifu mod. Oh god.
Everything has a white mod, you know this by now. Sorry, my brain is slightly lagging behind my tongue because I'm overheating.
Go get yourself another drink.
No, we only have like half an hour left, so I'll tough it out. I was slamming down hot alcohol earlier. I think I'll be fine. The alcohol was not cold, it was really warm. Sabre, issue of Skyrim, please.
Issue of Skyrim?
Other than glitches.
The bastard giant that kept spawning outside of my DLC house that wouldn't never go away regardless how many times I killed it.
Oh yeah, him.
I actually like that about Skyrim. I like the fact that all of the creatures were pre-placed and they did kind of level with you, but like if you were stupid enough, as I was the very first time I played Skyrim, to be wandering around Winterhold and think, oh, there's a giant over there, I'll just wander up to it. And I expected it to be difficult to kill. I was only level like 3, I think, at the time.
Oh,
Didn't
you
expect
fool.
it to wander over and catapult me into space.
It's
Don't
not the
worry
giant
about
which
that.
kills you, it's the fall damage.
Yeah, it's not the giant hammer that kills you. It's falling to the ground after you've been catapulted into space.
I mean, Sabre, how did you think you got such good land value?
No, yeah.
Property tax in Skyrim.
Property tax.
I don't know, some weirdo walked up to me with a deed. That's all I know.
Good sir, would you like this house completely for free? No issues whatsoever. Okay, sure, I'll do to it. Walk outside.
Every single time I walked out my freaking door, just the deep, heavy, like, breathing of the giant, just like, oh, go away.
All you do in that situation is like, time to go home. Dash, 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 dash.
I'll tell you something. I don't know if this is a problem for other open world games other than ones Bethesda's done. but the sheer amount of rubbish crap you end up being overloaded with that you then have to go and sell, which is worth absolutely nothing. Like, every time you go through a dungeon, it's just like a sea of Draugr armor and Draugr weapons, which are like worth a couple of gold. It's like, for heaven's sake.
I just smelt loose down. It increases my smithing level.
Well, that's what I do now.
Like Fallout 3, where like there's just so much crap in the game that you can pick up that literally has no value. Like plates and tin cans and things like that you end up with, or like toasters.
I feel like I'm also talking about things again, which I probably shouldn't be because it's an MMO, but it does sit this. Guild Wars 2 does fill your inventory with junk items and materials, but materials are easily enough to deposit. It lets you just rapidly deposit them. Junk items stay in your inventory, but all merchants have a sell all junk items button.
Oh, that's so useful.
And you don't need to worry about it.
I weirdly like picking up junk and collecting it myself. One of my friends in Fallout 3 had a thing for collecting tin cans and taking them back to his Megaton house. He had so many in there that when he loaded it into the house or walked into it, the tin cans would all just explode everywhere and crash the game.
See, I'm with Nerd Guy here, but on Fallout 4, I collect every single aluminium can I find because it's one of the best sources of aluminium.
Yep.
It's
Which is
going
like
around,
needed for every mod.
Like collecting frickin' pencils for that lead.
Yeah. In Fallout New Vegas, with the Big Mountain DLC, you could take... There was a demon toaster, and there was Muggy the little robot as well, and you could take cups, and he would smash cups just for fun.
Mm-hmm.
They tried to give you a purpose for using the junk items the game had, which Fallout 4 expanded on, but then Fallout 4 is just like, you can now turn these junk items into the settlement you construct in the top corner of the map, where you spend hours and hours and hours using our terrible building system, while your baby continues to be...
something.
Yeah.
The part I love is we're refusing to mention the real life junk item he picked up in a dungeon in Wales.
Oh, don't be... You're not a junk item.
You can't get rid of me, though.
Dungeon in Wales. Don't say things like that.
Aw, but it's funny. Ow!
What about you, chat? What are some open world... What do you think is the best open world game?
Ooh.
Let's have...
Let's be superlative.
Let's get away from negative things for the last half hour. What's the best open world game in your opinion?
No,
Chat.
only negative all the time.
No, because I'm told apparently I can be too negative about things.
What? No, there's no such thing as too negative.
Because apparently I shouldn't be negative about things like Jurassic World. Dominion.
Spore, says Dino King.
Spore? I loved Spore. Spore was the first game I ever brought on the day it came out.
I know. You've told the story many a time.
I know.
On this channel.
I know.
And to me. You cut me off whenever I say something you already know. I let you finish.
We will talk about this later.
No, you won't. You'll cut me off and then say we're not going to talk about it.
Besides, The Witcher! I didn't even mention The Witcher.
I know.
You've played The Witcher. Have you finished it? That's a no then.
I've barely even started it.
Beautiful game. I love The Witcher, and I loved how deep the story was. I just couldn't get over the fighting mechanics. They were really janky.
I think I got to the first tavern where Gwent was introduced, and then I stopped playing The Witcher.
And Red Dead Redemption 2. I played Red Dead Redemption 1. I just didn't like the cowboy thing. I don't like cowboys in general.
Oh no!
RDR2 is, it can be quite fun.
Of course, you saved a dinosaur model in Spore.
Mod The Witcher combat mechanics. Could probably do that.
It's just I had
General.
no motivation to play. I need to play Persona again.
Is Persona open world?
No. The dungeons are instant. They're procedurally generated, but your level dictates what you find.
My American soul is shattered. Sorry, cowboy.
Cabos!
I'm sorry, I just don't understand the appeal of the cowboy western thing. It's just, I don't know.
It's because you've got too much
Maybe it's just too American for me.
It's just too... Oh, what's the word I'm looking for? What's the opposite of a colonist? A colon...
Cowboys are... They're not Rami. They're really not.
No. You're making a mistake here. Cowboys aren't sexy. The chaps are sexy.
No, they're not.
Are you sure?
Yes, very sure. Don't like chaps. I will not fix my misspelling. I now stand by the new statement cowboys. Well, nerd guy likes a good bow. To be honest, I love playing Skyrim with bows, so...
Your name is Fletcher.
I know. I get the pun. Very funny.
It's not even a pun. You're meant to like them. That's why your name is Fletcher. If you didn't like them, it'd be bitter irony.
Well, technically, it's not the bow that the Fletcher likes. It's the pointy bit that sticks in people.
Time to play Innuendo Bingo.
Fuck you. It's not a pun, it's a reference.
Yeah.
I don't know what I would think is the best open world.
I just
I've
imagined
played.
you slapping him a bunch of times. He was tapping my shoulder.
Because, like I say, I can't... Like Sabre says, I can't say it's Skyrim because technically I mod Skyrim to the point where it's a completely different game.
Yeah.
Fallout 4 is definitely not a good open world game. New Vegas probably is the best for me. It's not great. There's a lot I criticize about it. I think Fallout 3 is still better in some respects, but New Vegas is probably the best open world game, I'd say.
Yeah.
It has a good storyline.
See, I have the beauty of being able to say Skyrim is the best open world game I've ever played, because I've only played it modded for about 10 minutes.
Not Vegas accurate, but it's a good game. Yeah, it was a bit disappointing just how little of Las Vegas was actually recreated in Fallout New Vegas.
We were meant to play it together, but we ended up stopping.
It wasn't me who stopped.
It wasn't. You just... No, you did.
I just went beyond where you were.
You went beyond where I was, and then I was like, oh, I thought we were playing this together, and you said, oh yeah, we were, but I just went on a bit. I'm like, oh, okay then. And then I was like, okay, just let me know when
Because
you
you
next
started
play.
playing other games.
Well, no, I then said, hey, just let me know when you're going to play, and then you never did. I just kept going forever and forever and forever.
We'll have to try it again. I would say, Dragon Age Inquisition is one I haven't played but want to. Kit used to play it quite heavily.
Yeah. You're all flat bit.
It has interesting characters.
Iron Bill.
I'm more referring. I like the lady secretary that walks around with the clipboard with a candle on the top, which I'm sure isn't a problem at all. It's not like she's carrying around lots of bits of parchment that could catch fire at any time.
I'm sorry, you've basically just roasted every scribe that ever existed in medieval times.
But it's so weird. She walks around. It's a solid wooden clipboard with parchment on it, and there's a whacking great big lit candle on there.
I will point out you realise that wood treatment existed in the past, so they knew that it wouldn't burn. It was rather expensive to do, but they were able to do it.
Then why
Mr.
did the
History
Great Fire
teacher.
of London happen?
Because they didn't use it to make fucking peasant houses.
The way you said peasant houses there. Oh, that was so... Oh, I'll make a little English colonial of you yet.
I will murder you in your... I will hurt you. I don't even need to do that hard.
She's amazing, shut up. Oh, the secretary has one supporter. Oh my lord!
Yep.
Good grief!
Uh-huh.
If you're wondering why we're all a bit shocked, it's because we've just got the scent of the wacky backy come flying through our window.
I'm
Jesus.
okay.
Whew. Josephine Montillier. That's the one. I couldn't remember her name. I apologize.
Put respect in her name.
But
I sound really
Yeah.
weird now.
Anyway, yes. Sabre, your best. Well, no, your best would be Elden Ring, won't it?
it would be, yeah, I would say probably the best one I played recently. I've burned myself out on a bit from like 300 hours of it in a very short time period, but I'd say one of the best modern ones would be Elden Ring. Another, like, at least open map, like, I'll classify it as open world because the maps are completely open, that I started playing recently, and I've not played one of them since the second one, I think it was, is I was recently started playing Sniper Elite 4, which has been quite fun, actually.
Ah. They are very big maps. Very, very big maps.
Like, I would count it enough because it allows you to play in your own way. You can be completely sneaky within these large open maps, or you can just be absolutely aggressive. I'd say it's kind of open worldy within obviously contained in each individual map because they're actually large enough.
I mean, by that logic, isn't Hitman also open world?
Hitman, the maps are generally smaller.
It's
So it's
weird.
more of a branching path game than a.
Because some of the maps will be quite large, and then some of them will be quite small. So,
Yeah.
whereas I think all of the Sniper Elite maps are kind of huge.
Yeah, like a whole island.
I don't know. I've never played Sniper Elite.
You get this X-ray vision when you shoot someone, so it shows
Yeah,
you what the bullet's doing as it passes through
Oh, is this the game
The-
which does
the-
the thing
the-
with the deer?
the Wehrmacht soldier's head, destroying his memories of his mother's strudel.
Christ.
Or the deer double kill?
Or the double kill, yeah.
I love the way I sound muffled, but you can still hear what I'm saying.
It's not. You can take that off now.
Okay. I'm not dying anymore.
Woohoo!
Deus Ex Machina is one none of us have spoken about.
I
I actually got brought it by my friend Ryan and still have not played it yet.
My brother owned it, and then that's the last I saw of that game.
I've seen it. I've never played it. Like, I've
It's
heard
a
it's one of
smell.
those ones that you should play.
I like the fact that none of us here have mentioned anything about Cyberpunk 2077, which is probably the biggest
I mean, to be
open
fair-
world release there's been in the last few.
Deus Ex Machina is the closest we got to mentioning it.
Yes.
I mean, I did day one purchase it, and I never got as much as the issues as everyone else seemed to have with it. I kind of got bored. I mean, it's not that the game itself is boring. It's just, I don't know. Some of the quests just feel tedious in there.
I have
I mean-
some... Oh, go on, sorry.
From like the people that genuinely get into it, though, all I hear, like, when obviously now that the game is more fixed and less, like, it actually runs smoother, it's been optimized and stuff. The people that like it really, really like it. So it's kind of a Marmite game, I think, at this point. You're either going to hate it or you're going to love it.
A bit like Jurassic World Dominion.
Mm.
Well, I'm talking about that.
I know we're not talking about that. Nerd Guy says it was alright, just a lot of glitches, and yet it wasn't very fun to play for long amounts of time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The
really
problem was-
bad launches, really especially open world games, which kind of live on continued DLC.
No Man's Sky.
Oh,
Like,
I still
that-
refuse to forgive No Man's Sky. Like, Vice was playing it recently, and he's like, "Oh well, yeah, it's good now." But that's
No,
like saying I've had my leg amputated, but it's good now.
That's because they even tried to make a joke of it with because when they actually did the big patch that made the game what it was supposed to be. It's like, it's the end goodening of No Man's Sky, and it's like, no, you're still dicks.
Yeah, like you still lied. They still lied in all of the development up to it, and then it launched in a terrible state with none of the features it said they were going to have. And it's just like, You lied to the general public.
Yep.
Vampire the Masquerade Bloodlines is open world in one city like Shenmue.
Does
It's supposed to be quite
things
good.
like just things like Space Engineers count?
I would classify Space Engineers as a sandbox sim, similar to Kerbal and
But
not Teardown.
you do technically have an open world with Space Engineers.
You do have an open world, true. That's another game I got brought by my friend Ryan that I still have never installed. I just never seem to get round to it.
I have a friend of mine who sent me some of the glitches he had with, because I showed them to you at the time. A friend of mine showed me all that stuff, the glitches that he had with Cyberpunk. And it was hilarious. It was like, yeah, I'm just going to go to this place. And he got sent 10 miles backwards.
That's a good question.
Any upcoming open world here everyone here is looking forward to?
Yes, Sons of the Forest. Like, I think I talked about this in the last tier Triclaw. It's like open world survival game where you're literally trapped in a big forest, and there's like a bunch of freaking cannibal like tribal people and a bunch of like big mutants, and you've got to build base and survive. And I played the first one, which was great. This one just looks incredible. The attention to detail in the world building and everything just looks so good.
I'm not necessarily looking forward to it, but I'm interested to see what they're going to do with the next Skyrim. Not next Skyrim, the next Elder Scrolls. I'm looking forward to seeing how Bethesda are going to screw this up.
Loot boxes.
Probably.
I mean, they've got...
Paid XP boosters.
If anyone's infamous with the teal, they have Skyrim Grandma voicing some character in it, which apparently also has her likeness.
Forspoken, Square Enix open world game,
Or so they promised.
Or so they promised.
It doesn't say that, but it's what he means.
Oh yeah, and Hogwarts Legacy, which I'm also definitely interested in. The new God of War, which might be linear, not an open world.
I wouldn't call Monster Hunter open world.
Isn't it?
I wouldn't call it open world.
But it's literally called Monster Hunter World.
No, it's not.
Oh.
It's called Rise.
Yeah, but Monster Hunter World is open world, right?
No.
Oh.
I wouldn't call it because the maps are too small to be considered open world.
And they're not
There's like stages.
Mm.
Like I can run from one side of the map to the other.
I don't think there's any others. There's that new thing that Bethesda are doing, that's their space one, which is basically the Outer Worlds, but Bethesda are trying to do it better. And we can inevitably assume they're going to do it worse.
Yeah. By the way, Dino King, if you wanted to see Monster Hunter, I was playing it a couple of hours ago. You never turned up. Huh.
I'm sure, well, American time difference.
8 a.m. is a perfect time to watch me play Monster Hunter
It
Rise.
was 2 in the afternoon.
8 a.m., 6 hours time difference. Do the math.
I heard there is going to be a new Fable game. Oh god.
I don't have any games that I'm looking forward to with Triple World.
What's Molyneux going to promise with this one?
I don't know.
Because none of the Fable games have lived up to what he's stated.
I like the first one.
I mean, I would say they are. Rami?
Is the Spider-Man game open world? I think there is an open world Spider-Man game.
There was one that I played on the PlayStation, which was open world.
But being someone who's kind of anti-superhero.
So you're pro-villain.
Yeah, of course I'm pro-villain. I love playing a game literally called Evil Genius.
Yeah, but the thing about Evil Genius is you're actually the good guy in disguise.
No, you're not.
Yes, you are.
Nah. I set fire to secret agents.
Yeah? They're trying to steal your grandmother's cookie recipe.
God damn them!
Told you the good guy.
The first one was sick. The others all disappointed. I'm assuming that he's referring to the Spider-Man games.
Sorry, I'm going to move back because I'm just realising how loud I am now. I have to lean forward to see chat, and then I forget that I'm speaking. I forget where your mic is, I just bobbed it with my head.
So, with 10 minutes to go, is there... Trying to think how to word it.
Carry
Is
on.
there a movie or TV show or something like that that we think would be quite good as an open world game?
Ooh.
Say what?
A movie or TV show that would be good as an open world game.
I hate to say this just requires one to know what TV shows and movies are.
You have seen shows, you have seen
Not many.
movies,
Like a handful.
or animes.
The one game that they did, which was based on the anime.
No guy says the MCU. Didn't they try that?
Or
Wasn't there an
Stop Over Me?
Avengers game that came out that got ripped on because all the Avengers looked like the stunt doubles?
So they did a fighting game for the MCU.
That might be the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah. But like I said, the only like kind of anime thing that I've seen which would probably be good as an open world game, they actually completely messed it up.
Oh.
Ruby Grim Eclipse.
Oh.
Yeah.
Not open world and it sucked ass. Okay then. I'm just trying to think of a TV show or something.
Mm-hmm. You keep thinking, Sabre?
That is a question.
The entire 10 minutes is going to be these two trying to think of something.
No, yeah, the
Arkham
Arkham and
Batman-
Batman game's definitely open world.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
You keep doing this!
Sorry. I suppose the obvious one from me would be Jurassic World.
Chill out.
But do a post-dinosaurs getting out open world survival game.
The Isle.
Like the Isle, but with you playing as a human.
Ark.
Without the terrible things that Ark has in it.
I'll think of a game eventually.
Just have absolutely no locusts.
Oh. I don't know then. Shadow and Bone.
Shadow and Bone?
You have to ask Nerd Guy, you're looking at the wrong person.
Oh, it sounded like an anime.
How would I know literally every anime under the sun?
You're my anime person. You're my go-to anime expert.
I love the way you said you're my anime person. I was like, should I just...
You need to have the spiky hair of an anime protagonist.
You spike my hair, I end up putting you in the ground.
Aww. Wheel of Time.
Don't look at me.
Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor. Oh yeah, we didn't even mention Middle-earth Shadow of Mordor.
God, that game was so fun.
Mordor. When your house doesn't have enough entry points.
Mordor.
Mordor. Dresden Files. What's that?
I don't know!
I wasn't asking you specifically.
You keep looking at me!
Because you're there in the middle of the room. So when I look around, inevitably I end up looking at you. I have heard of Dresden Files. I just can't. I'm over here laughing because I know my question won't be read. I keep seeing Mummy Vampire on the logo loadout. Did you use the Fly Swatter mod?
Soon.
See, Dino King, here's the thing you don't realise. I can't read beyond the first 4 messages. If I do, I end up getting too close to the mic.
I missed Sabre fighting off Mummy Vampire.
I mean, admittedly, so did I, because someone didn't wake me up.
Yes.
That
Dresden
actually went
Files is
really well.
Fantastic book series, middling TV series. Glad I showed you that TikTok now. Hey, for sure, no guy.
Huh? What?
So come on, Sabre. A TV show or movie you think would make a good open world game?
Have you ever seen Sanctuary?
Nope.
No.
Like, basically, like, a very loose and basic concept of it is there's these people that have set up a sanctuary to try and help protect, like, things that would be like mythical creatures or beings that aren't known to the mass public
It's like
as a whole.
It's like the SCP Foundation.
Kind of, yeah, but a bit more humane.
A bit more,
Just a bit.
just a bit more less evil.
Wait.
Yeah.
Does this mean that
But
they have an HR department?
it's not like, like creepy weird items that could like, turn you inside out or anything like that. It's more just like tends to be like actual living creatures and things like that that have powers, and they try and either stop them from destroying the world or just give them a safe place to be, or just try and keep them a secret.
If it wasn't for the fact that they're not evil, it would be exactly like the Lobotomy Corporation.
So
You've never heard of that game?
I've just thought of a really good SCP game.
Oh.
Like, have it based like Evil Genius 2, like a base builder, but make it like your own SCP base.
Okay, that is literally Lobotomy Corporation. Pretty much. I need to show you Lobotomy Corporation, the half-hour break you have.
Then you could spend the entire time trying to kill SCP-682. The pirate book Michael Crichton wrote would be a better open world than Assassin's Creed Black Flag. Stop it.
I'm not doing anything.
What about Farscape as a game?
Ooh. Farscape.
What's
See,
Farscape?
It's a sci-fi.
Oh. Okay.
Farscape. See, I was
that's
thinking
the
of the
only
Orville,
game.
but then like those sorts of games, I think would be better as story based rather than open world.
Yeah. Like an RPG or something, maybe.
A better Dino Crisis game as an open world. Dino Crisis 1 was brilliant.
I don't know.
I'm just trying to think of any other TV shows or movies.
Was trying to think of the name of one where it's like it was a TV series and I can never remember what the hell it's called. Where people either go back in time or through a portal or something like that. But on the other side, when they get there to try and set up a base, it turns out the whole place is just full of dinosaurs. And
I know the show you're on about. Yeah.
Like, I think that would probably make a really good open world game. You're exploring this brand new world to try and find resources and things to survive, but there's also giant dinosaurs. God knows what else.
Rami's like, no one mentioning Game of Thrones.
We don't need to. There's already a shit game of it.
It's surprising that there hasn't been a proper attempt to make a game of it yet.
Yeah, that's why I said there's already a shit one of it.
But
there's a book series. I know it's not what you said, but there's a book series which is kind of what Sabre said, called Time Riders, which would be quite cool. Probably not open world, because... But yeah.
There is actually, I can't remember the name of the series, but it's like a virus kills all the adults and it's just the kids that get left alive.
Oh!
Um,
That's the Plague series.
The Plague series, yeah.
Although, spoiler, they don't actually die.
No, okay.
There's
I think
reason.
I think the dinosaur thing I was talking about is called Terra Nova.
Terra Nova, yes.
I think that would make an amazing open world game.
I can lend you the Plague series if you want. I have it downstairs.
Primeval TV series.
Oh, look at all these people who know movies and TV shows.
There is only one Primeval TV series, and that's series 1 and 2 from the British one. We don't talk about the rest. But that's a topic for the dinosaur fans. So we are now at 8:30. So that is the end of this tea with Triclaw. We're now going to take a quick half-hour intermission while I get Teardown ready to go and get food ready to go as well.
I thought we were meant to have food during the 2-hour break.
We were, but it was too warm.
That explains why I passed out.
But where is the tea? The tea is not going to be had yet. But yeah,
the tea is not here. It's in another country.
I will be back in half an hour to show you a game where we're just going to go around smashing stuff up and causing explosions. So it should be quite fun.
Where's my iced tea with Triclaw?
But for the moment, it's goodbye from me.
Goodbye.
That's Vidania.
Dos Vidania from the Russian. I will see you all in half an hour. Thank you for joining in, everyone, and bye-bye.
Bye. That went well.